Hello!
In the car!
We just came from Godzilla.
14 years!
Why 14 years? Why do you say that? Since the last Godzilla movie?
Yes.
Yeah, Godzilla 2000 was pretty damn good.
You can tell we have a major Godzilla fan in the car.
Hi.
Okay, if you liked Pacific Rim, go see this movie. It's really good. I mean, they really do tease you on the whole, like... It's like an hour before Godzilla shows up.
It's always in good Godzilla movies. It's a good hour before.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not an hour because they're typically shorter than about 3 hours. But
This one was only 2. I checked. It's 2 hours.
It was a long 2 hours. It was a good 2 hours.
It was a joyous 2 hours.
It wasn't all action. The parts that weren't action were equal part, mystery, tension, and they had some really funny parts.
They
too.
really, and what was interesting about the funny parts was that the movie itself didn't stop for the funny bits. They just flew right by for the audience to appreciate while the movie got on with destroying things. It's like they were clearly
Or
put in
preparing to destroy things.
Yeah.
It was a,
But no, I guess I should clarify. Godzilla doesn't show up for like an hour, but even after that, it's like another hour before they stop trying to hide him with smoke. Like they pull that trick just a few too many times.
And right as the actual first fight between them starts, it starts for like 5 seconds, and then it cuts back to the humans.
And then you get like little snippets on the news stations, and you're like, no, show me more of that! That was awesome! But, oh my god, does it eventually pay off. The last 30 minutes of this is monster throwdown.
Which is really my only complaint about this movie.
Really? The last 30 minutes, the monster throwdown?
No, the fact that was all the monster throwdown. Godzilla is the king of monsters. Every Godzilla movie
Needs
is
more
built
throwdown.
is built up to Godzilla, then Godzilla and Monster of the Day smackdown.
Needs more.
This was a movie trying to combine Godzilla with the whatever love story BS, because I feel like the movie is called Godzilla.
No.
Why do I feel like the entire focus is on this military dude and his family?
Die.
I don't! I came here to see Godzilla!
And yet they killed probably over 2 billion people
Oh,
if this
God.
were a real thing.
Well, I don't know. Ripping through Hawaii and San Francisco, I don't think that's going to kill...
Nevada, Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever part of
Okay,
Tokyo
so
they were
And
in.
Maybe.
parts of Japan. I don't think he actually went through Tokyo, but there was some damage in Japan too. And Japan is
the movie
populous.
does spend a lot of time. Japan is super population density.
Yeah.
The movie spends an appropriate amount of time in Japan, considering that it's a Japanese monster. I mean, okay. We're going to try not to compare to the 1998 version too much, but the 1998 version definitely suffered from the fact that it was in New York rather than
New
Japan.
York. I
Hey.
get Hawaii. I get San Francisco. I can kind of sort of get Nevada. But, it has to be the Western/Eastern Japan.
Actually, they pulled that trick. Okay, so the monster that and the preview's really good about this. I didn't know that Godzilla was fighting a monster before I came in here. I'm so glad he was.
Spoiler alert.
That is such a weak spoiler, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fights monsters. It's not like Godzilla versus the U.S. military. In fact, they don't shoot at him very much at all.
In fact, the best scene in the film, since we've already spoiled part of it, is the U.S. military. And they would never say it, but they're like escorting Godzilla through the ocean to San
As
Francisco.
Godzilla is moving from Hawaii.
That shot in the trailer where you like see 2 boats and Godzilla spikes. Yeah, they totally do that. And they're just like, just follow Godzilla.
Armed escort, courtesy of the U.S.
Godzilla
Navy.
is clearly tracking down the monster, so follow Godzilla.
Do not follow, escort. Godzilla's in between them, and they have aerial helicopters or fighter jets
Helis,
going
fighters,
with him.
and aircraft carriers, battleships. They have everything following
And
this dude.
Godzilla is just like, yeah, sure, tag along. See if I care.
Yeah, he's just like,
I love, like, right as he's showing up before the Battle of Hawaii, his spikes are coming out of the water. And everybody's like, he's gonna have us just dive under the aircraft carrier.
he actually
You're
did
in the way!
He did that a couple times where he's like, oh, a boat, I'll go under it. And the same thing with the monster on the train bridge is like, it could have plowed through the bridge, but if you think about it, that's kind of inconvenient for the monster. It's like here's the thing, I can easily walk around it, or it could punch through it for the people who love destruction. But no, it's much easier to walk around it.
That's how you know Michael Bay wasn't involved.
Although he did eventually break through the bridge.
He did eventually when he was looking to, the two monsters that he fights eat radiation.
They all eat radiation.
I thought Godzilla ate them.
No, well, Godzilla hunts them. They all eat radiation. It did stay very, very true to the original Japanese Gojira in a lot of ways.
Who's the Japanese guy? Kaneda?
Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe, the guy from Inception, the Japanese guy from Inception.
And Memoirs of a Geisha. And The Last Samurai, for anyone who's counting.
The best Japanese actor Hollywood has got. They used him well, but he says Gojira. He says Gojira, and all these stupid Americans say Godzilla.
No, he actually did say Godzilla. He did not say Gojira.
Did you not hear me saying Gojira every time he said the thing's name?
Yeah.
Well, he said Gojira once, at least.
I thought it was
He
Godzilla,
said
but it
Godzilla.
might... Yeah, I'm with Brandon on this
Godzilla.
one. He did say Godzilla.
I heard him say Gojira at least once.
Maybe he did, and I happened to miss that one. But the
Breaking Bad
radiation-
fans, whoever that guy's name is.
Bryce something, I think the name was.
We don't watch-
Bryant.
Bryan Cranston, maybe?
Bryan Cranston, I think that was it.
We don't watch Breaking Bad, but
Yet.
he's in the first half of the movie, and he does really good. Like, he has a really powerful opening scene.
He's really good at portraying the obsessed crazy person who
He's
turns
very-
out to not actually be crazy.
Yeah, he was good at that too. I mean, he just does a really good job.
I thought all the acting in this was really good, considering
It's a
your
Godzilla movie.
co-star is CG.
A giant monster thing. I would say the bomb
the
is-
co-star was Godzilla, not the star.
But unlike with the Transformers movies, where it's clear that the director has no interest in Godzilla, everything involving the human characters involves Godzilla. There's no side stuff. It's like the bomb.
The desire to return home.
Yeah, but that's at the same. That his home is where Godzilla is heading, and every time he gets a ride because the military is following Godzilla, and he's in the military. And they're like, "Hey, you guys are going that way? Yeah, can I come? I'm in the military." They're like, "Sure." Except for the time they were transporting the nuke on a train, they're like, "No, you can't come on the train with the nuke. What are you, insane?"
By
I'm
the
gonna
way,
sneak on that.
But I'm a bomb expert, which was his. I mean, it was
Explosive ordnance disposal.
Yeah.
think Hurt Locker, only it doesn't all go bad.
Yeah, and
Yet.
it was established in the beginning, so I knew that it was going to come up, and I appreciated that it came up in a way that just provided him transport.
It actually works with the story. It's not just completely, he gets to the train, oh, by the way, I happen to be a bomb disposal.
Never
Really?
mentioned that before.
It really does
Wasn't
work.
relevant before.
But they do mention it and build up to it. And
No, as
it
long
ends
as we're
up
talking
working.
about the whole bomb thing,
Yeah.
According to Christina here, they use the actual footage from the nuclear tests in Bikini Islands.
Which
At the beginning of the film.
in this universe was them trying to kill Godzilla
Failing!
and failing so hard.
They did add a little detail
Yeah,
here or there.
they slipped in some Godzilla spines into the original footage. And
The
it was-
opening credits were
was-
so awesome because obviously
They
something like
were.
this would have been a classified operation.
Yeah.
The opening credits is you see this whole list of words and everything but like the director, the names,
Yeah,
their
just the
position
name
are
of whoever they
whited
were.
out by a line.
Redacted.
Like unclassified document.
Redacted.
It was really cool and clever the way they did it.
The soundtrack was pretty good too.
Yeah, the soundtrack was really good. I especially loved at the end, which we are not spoiling the last scene, but that music and the music throughout the whole thing was, I thought, perfect.
And let's see, there was if I had to say there was a weak link in the acting, it would be the soldier guy we follow. But he's not bad. He's just the weakest actor we have, and he's going up against Bryan Cranston, Ken Watanabe. Ken
You are
Watanabe.
bad with these names.
The guy who played the bad guy in the third Bourne movie, he's a really big name actor. I loved him in another movie. I loved him in Brazil. He's really good. Old guard actor. My mom's gonna kill me for not knowing
The
his name.
Admiral,
Yeah, the Admiral.
he was really good.
He was good. And surprisingly, Elizabeth Olsen, Well, not surprisingly for me, but unfortunately she wasn't given much of a part.
Only because nobody
Blonde
cared.
support wife,
Which she
generic, and she played it wonderfully.
She plays it well, and it doesn't feel like forced, because it makes sense that he has a wife and wants to get home to find her. It's just that they kind of had to keep inserting footage of her being like, dodge the rubble, just to remind us she was in the movie, because she really didn't have anything
Because
to do.
once the whole Monster Smackdown thing shows up, nobody cares about the people anymore.
No, but Elizabeth Olsen is a way better actress than her sisters. And I'm glad that she is starting to get acting jobs. She's going to be in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, she is going to be an Age of Ultron.
But, yeah, I really liked her in Silent House some time ago, and no one seems to have seen that. But, yeah, she was good here. There were actually... Did you hear those complaints on the internet about Japan saying Godzilla looked too fat? Like
I did not.
Our design for Godzilla for this movie apparently is too fat. And it was found to be very funny over in Japan. Look at Godzilla got fat, he ate too many monsters. I'm just...
In a British accent.
Yeah, you just making fun of Japanese people
How do I do a
in a
Japanese
British
accent?
accent. How do you do that?
I don't
You
have
don't.
a Japanese accent. I don't have one. I can't speak Japanese.
None of us can. We can still probably do a Japanese
that's what
accent.
that's what I was trying to say earlier. The monsters, the monsters he fights. Apparently there were a couple of parasitic eggs found in the skeleton of some other random giant monster. And,
Probably another one that
one of them hatched, and they did this shot twice. They found the hole that it dug out of the cave, and then they're like, damn, that's a big hole, and like the whole path on the ground. And later, they transported the second egg to Nevada, where we keep the Yucca Mountain, where we store all the
They did
nuclear
not
waste.
say Area 51.
They said Yucca Mountain, which is a real thing. Area 51's a real thing too, but they put it in Yucca Mountain.
Area 51 is an air base.
I wanted them to say Area 51, though. I mean, come on, who's with me?
No, not aliens, monsters.
Yucca
Big difference.
Yucca Mountain makes more sense because they were like, it's radioactive. Put
Area
it with
51.
But they did the same. They did the same shot. It apparently hatched and broke out of the mountain. Like it punched its way out of the mountain, and they've got the same shot.
Well,
of
the
soldiers
second one that
opening
hatched
the door.
was like,
300 feet tall. Yeah,
like almost 3 times the size of the first
They
one.
actually had a
so,
very...
you know.
This was very clever from an animal perspective. The first one that hatched was smaller and had wings and was male. The second one that hatched was larger, had no wings, and was female. Which, in terms of at least insect life, is pretty damn accurate to how a lot of male-female dichotomies work in the insect world. The males can fly, so they can find the females. And the females are bigger, so they can protect the eggs.
Also, going
Yeah,
back...
a lot of good the female did at protecting the eggs, considering they were
To be
killed by
fair,
a human.
To be fair, she was protecting them from the 350-foot lizard monster that seemed like a more relevant threat.
Also, going back with the research, going back to the original Godzilla, they tried the electric fence to kill Godzilla.
Yeah.
It
No,
failed.
Yes, it
they
did.
tried the
Electric cage with this one.
They had a very elaborate defense mechanism around the first flying monster before
They
it happened.
Grid is
did
secure,
try.
sir. Boom.
But as in all
Grid
good
secure my ass.
Godzilla movies, human weapons do jack shit.
No, they're literally, as the monsters are walking by, they're shooting at them with machine guns.
And
you
the
really
monster-
think those are gonna work?
The monsters were slightly irritated. Like, not even mildly, just like,
They didn't even turn to look at them. They just kept walking. Bullets don't work against something that size.
A lot of background characters died in this movie. A lot
Now
of background
when,
characters died.
F-35 started shooting missiles at them, then yeah, they started paying attention. But
Oh,
damn,
but
7.52 millimeter rounds ain't doing nothing.
they had the monsters with EMP pulses. The two monsters he fights will routinely release EMP pulses, which are a huge problem for human weapons. It's just a giant problem.
Not
considering.
even-
How
Human
many
weapons.
fighter jets poured out of the sky from those things?
You're talking hospitals. You're talking anything that needs electronics to keep people alive.
Everything.
But
It was
yeah,
a weapon for
jets were
modern
falling
day.
out of the
Yeah,
sky.
and it
Tanks couldn't
worked.
roll.
It really did work.
Yeah, it makes much more sense
the
that
first
we wouldn't
time
be
we
able to stop
actually-
them that way.
Like, the first time the EMP happens on a wide scale is when the first one is in Honolulu feasting on a Russian sub. It plucked out of the ocean.
Oh God, was that a hell of a shot?
It shoots
the
out
military guys are like, holy.
But right as Godzilla is about to show up in Honolulu, the first monster releases that EMP, wiping out all the electricity. But as Godzilla's coming through town, lights are coming back on.
Yep. He was the
found that
anti-EMP for some reason. Of course, the lights come on just in time for everyone on the little train thing at the airport to be like, oh my God! What the hell is that? There were a lot of kids in this movie, surprisingly. Like, kid characters. There was,
I felt that one Japanese child that our main
at
character
the
was
airport,
protecting
yeah.
on the... I felt he was a pointless character. I mean, what was...
He really kind of was.
He showed the guy's sympathy to children and his dedication to doing the right thing, which is probably why
Which
he...
is all well and good,
And he
but
was
they lured
saddled
him.
with
They
this
went
kid
nowhere
for...
with it.
He was saddled with the kid for a logical reason. The kid got separated on, like, those automatic doors on the trams at the airport. And he's like, I'll keep an eye on him to the parents. This is before the monsters even show up. Of course, once the monsters show up, then he's like, oh crap, I gotta hold on to the kid!
The kid does find his parents at the relief center, but it just seemed pointless. I mean, okay, yay for character establishment, but you went nowhere with it.
It really was. It started at like the hour and 20 mark, and then it ended like 20 minutes later, and that was that. I mean, I guess that's better than dragging the kid around for the whole movie.
I wouldn't say the hour 20 mark, but it was it was definitely close to the hour mark. It took an hour and like 3 minutes for Godzilla to completely appear on screen.
I'm not going to spoil when this happens because it is a hell of an awesome moment, but Godzilla does breathe something. It's not really fire.
Those old ray attacks he used to do, he does retain those, and damn it, when it finally happened, it was awesome.
Oh, it was so satisfying.
It was back up. And then there's Alex's favorite moment.
Tail whip.
The flying one is coming at Godzilla from the side. He just like bat slap with the tail, sends it into a building, impaling it on spires. What?
You're ruining it for the peoples.
I think they know how the movie ends. You don't go to a film like this without knowing on some level how it ends.
Okay, reassurances. Nothing at all like the 1998 version. Strike that from your mind. This is the American Godzilla that we needed. What was it, 16 years ago? We got cheated to hell.
Oh, God. The 1998 Godzilla was enjoyable as a kid. If I tried watching that now, I would have to shoot myself because it was so bad.
It was enjoyable when I was 8, because when I was 8, watching cars get flung around and watching a giant monster
then again,
break
what do
through
you
buildings.
expect when you give Godzilla to the person who directed Independence Day?
I liked Independence
Day is amazingly, awesomely
Independence
bad.
Day. Okay,
Welcome
awesome
to
bad.
Earth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that and Bill Pullman's speech was really fun and cool, but
No,
Welcome to
Will
Earth.
Smith
Independence Day is
saved that movie.
Independence Day is structurally an awful movie, but it is the most gloriously enjoyable awful movie.
It is.
If it was not for Will Smith being in that movie, it never would have succeeded.
Well, and
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum was like, he was the yin to Will Smith's yang. Come on, man.
No, Jeff Goldblum wasn't good until the end of that movie with the whole cigar thing.
Exactly.
Other than that, he was just annoying. Then again, I don't really like Jeff Goldblum that much.
Oh God.
Well, we're getting a little off topic, so
that's fair enough. I am ready to gush over as many monster destroying city movies as I
while
want in
we
this
are
car.
on the topic of Jeff Goldblum, they did give a shout out to Jurassic Park in this movie.
Oh yeah, there
you
were
remember in
a
the
couple
original
shout-outs.
Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum's wiping the fog off the windshield of the car. The bus driver for saving the kids.
Yeah,
and
he was an
he does the same thing right as Godzilla shows up.
Evacuation driver. And the evacuation driver guy had balls. He's just like, giant monster, turn the car back on, floor it.
Crashing through barricades,
I am getting off this
honking
bridge.
the horn at tanks, cops, military personnel, the heck out of the way.
And it's a good thing he did because the bridge got wrecked, and there have got to have been more buses of people that got killed.
There were.
Right as Godzilla comes out of the water,
there is no way. I mean,
the captains or admirals of the battleships in the water start freaking out as Godzilla shows up. But when they give the command to fire, their missiles are so off track. They're flying
They start
over
hitting
the
the
bridge. Over the bridge. It's like a freaking ping pong table.
And very unsubtle shout out was this might have been the reason there were so many kid characters, because they kept having like little dinosaur toys around the kids all the time, and it was so unsubtle. It was great. And there's a Mothra reference.
Yes, the Mothra. When they go back to the old
No
house,
idea how they slipped that in, because it's like two separate words that were just inadvertently stacked on top of each other to spell moth, and whatever the hell was underneath it gave it the raw. And it's just like, thank you, movie, thank you, that was great.
Well, Godzilla vs. Mothra was one of the better ones, though.
That's why they referenced that one and not Godzilla and his stupid son. The son of Godzilla. There's a reason they don't Manila? I think his son was called Manila, or that's not how it's pronounced in Japanese, but Manila.
Yeah, that
I
was.
will have to say, though, I can't forgive myself for not remembering its name, but it was the three-headed dragon one, Godzilla's most common enemy.
The Chimera?
No, it has a name. And it really bothers me that I can't remember it either, because
thing and Biollante were actually my favorite Godzilla monsters.
Other
than the king himself, obviously.
I honestly really liked the monster from Godzilla 2000. It was a very bizarre alien spaceship thing that turned into this organic. It was trying to copy Godzilla's powers.
It turned into Robo Godzilla and.
It was like Rogue of the X-Men had decided, you know what, Godzilla's powers, mine. Then of course Godzilla's like, no. And that's another great thing about this movie. All the human characters are just like in awe of what Godzilla is capable of. That is a very important feature, because that is the best part of every Godzilla movie with the human characters, and they're like, oh my god, Godzilla is just like, why are we even trying?
That's a good question. Why do they keep shooting at him when they know it doesn't work?
I don't know! I mean, you could make an argument that you should at least try missiles, but, oh god, why would you even There's a lot of scenes, especially on the boat bit, where the soldiers just take their little machine guns and go, and the monster's just like, that's mildly annoying. I mean, some of them had RPGs, and I can see why you'd think to try that, because boom. But machine guns, really? 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 At one point, the main soldier guy, I can't even remember his name. Did he? No.
Ford.
Brody?
Ford Brody.
Ford Brody.
Lieutenant Brody. He pulls his sidearm, like his little pistol, on the giant monster, staring him in the face. And he doesn't shoot it, but he was very desperate.
That's because Godzilla gets to it.
Godzilla makes the interference pass.
I won't spoil that one because it was so awesome.
Brody was brought along because they were going to try and use nukes to, one, lure the monsters away from the city. That didn't work because the monsters got to the nukes in transport. And then they were like, well, then we'll just explode the nukes. But their backup plan was for the nukes to explode several miles away from the city, not in the middle of the city.
By the way, if the nuclear weapons were as powerful as the Admiral said they were, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
There was no way in 5 minutes the nuclear weapons went that far away.
But we'll just let
them pretend that it all worked out.
We'll
like
let that one slide. The movie sets itself up for a lot of conveniences, and then trips you up by making those conveniences not happen for really logical reasons. Like, Brody's brought along and says, I can disable the nuke in 60 seconds since I helped, arm it. But he never gets the opportunity because, the case breaks. He can't get it open. I mean, it's just... I was thinking to myself, oh, he's going to have his, America hell yeah moment where he saves the day by disarming the nuke. No, he doesn't get it. The movie's just like, yeah, that's...
Because he's not the hero of the story,
Godzilla is the hero. All the human characters, all the development is just so that we care if they survive. Did that work for you?
Ken Watanabe's character told us from the very beginning what would have worked, and nobody ever listened to him.
Let Godzilla... Ken Watanabe, his suggestion was let Godzilla beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, let Godzilla do what he's coming to do and get everyone out of his way.
Because nukes solve all the problems except for monsters that feed on radiation.
Exactly.
That was Gojira's point back in the, 60s, 70s?
Yeah, exactly. They really did nail home the nuclear.
You know, as someone who's
nuclear
seen
thing.
most of these movies, you're making me feel old by mentioning the years.
What's but
I didn't see it until 4 years ago
you were
myself.
born in '89.
But I've seen a lot of the older Godzilla
So you went
films.
back. I've seen a movie that was silent. I've seen a Charlie
I've
Chaplin
seen a
movie.
couple silent films.
Yeah, just because you see old movies doesn't make you old.
The fact that I can still remember them does.
No.
Witness for the Prosecution was made in the 50s.
That was a good movie. Thank you for showing me that.
Anyway, when we got to the movie theater, we had 3 previews.
Oh, wait, but first we went into the wrong theater.
We did go
because
into the wrong
Godzilla
theater.
was showing in 3D and not 3D. This 3D appears to be a post-conversion.
Yeah.
But there were some scenes that looked like they'd be good. There was like a parachuting scene, and of course Godzilla will probably look amazing in 3D.
The tail whip, probably.
Yeah.
They did something 3D
If
for
you've
that.
got the cash to drop on 3D, I could honestly recommend this one.
It did get kind of dark, though, during the battle
Yeah,
scenes. I
yeah.
would be concerned about that and about the fog.
But the darkness was more of an aesthetic touch, because it brightens up at the end. It's sort of like the day is saved, bright now.
Oh, it was definitely used as scene building, but I've heard that conversion, I can't see the 3D that the theaters do, so I've never seen 3D.
I saw The Last Airbender in 3D, because my parents were morons. And that was a conversion. Oh my god, that movie was so dark. I couldn't see a damn thing that was going on, even in the daytime scenes, because of the conversion. So yeah, that might be a concern.
I've seen a bit of that in 2D, and that was awfully dark in 2D. I can only imagine how this one... But, you know, if you like 3D, if you don't mind a really dark film, I'd say go see it in 3D.
Because this is the kind of spectacle movie that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went into the 3D showing, and we're like... Should there be previews now?
No, that was a 2D showing. They were showing it in 2 theaters in 2D.
Oh, yeah. But we walked in and it was like, is this the movie?
And then I heard the name Ford and I was like, wait a minute, this is the film!
Well, we shouldn't be seeing the film yet. We walked into Theater 3 instead of Theater 4. They were right next to each other. It's an honest mistake.
But don't worry, we weren't spoiled.
No, it was just some scene with Elizabeth Olsen working at the hospital.
We noticed fairly quickly and we're like, back it up.
Oh, well, wrong theater.
But, speaking of back it up, back to the previews.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maleficent, which might be good considering my hatred for Angelina Jolie.
Okay,
We
we've told you, Angelina Jolie can act. They just
This
usually
isn't
don't
going
let
to
her.
be a Beowulf. I really doubt
God.
it. I love Disney. I have always loved Disney. Recently, my faith in Disney has been shaken. And when I heard this, I thought,
Not stood.
you know, it was going to be an Angelina Jolie vanity project like Beowulf.
Never saw that.
Don't.
I don't want to.
But no, this one looks good. Her cheekbones are perfect to play Maleficent.
Yes.
And isn't that such a weird thing to pick up on, that her cheekbones are appropriate for who she's playing? But it looks like they're going to do something interesting with the character. And Maleficent is easily their best villain.
Maybe I was just reading the trailer wrong, and I'll admit I don't know a lot about Maleficent because I don't
Sleeping
really care
Beauty.
for Disney. But it made it seem like they were trying to make her seem like a good guy for a little bit.
They were at least trying to make her seem...
No.
They were trying to make her seem sympathetic, which is a good way to take the character, because what are you going to do, make her more evil? No. She's your most evil villain off the bat. She is the final Disney boss in Kingdom Hearts. There's reason for that.
She's also one of the villains that has the least motivation in any of the Disney films.
Like, oh, I was snubbed. I wasn't invited to this party. Well, I'm going to curse your daughter to die in 16 years. Huh. That'll teach you not to invite me to parties.
It looks like it's going to actually be somewhat interesting. So fingers crossed on that one.
Potential. Okay. Now, let's skip the second one because I got a lot to say about that one. The third one, Interstellar with Christopher Nolan directing, and the guy from Dallas Buyers Club.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
First time I saw that commercial, it was basically just like the rocket and the space, and my dad and I were going, wait a minute, is this a film or is this a documentary they're showing in movie theaters?
But what it looks to be like is it's some sort of pre-apocalyptic future where
I wouldn't call it apocalyptic, but pretty close.
I would say pre. That's why I said pre-apocalyptic, where we're running out. Humanity is running out of food, and
so leave Earth.
best
else.
I can tell, the plot is that this one guy, he's a trained engineer, but since we're running out of food, we don't need engineers anymore. We need food growers. He gets hired to help make a spaceship that takes him
out of food. I thought the dust cloud that they hinted at for like 2 seconds was covering the Earth.
Getting serious Dust Bowl.
Yeah, because
vibes
when
there.
we went up in space, you could see the planet was like all dark. So I think it was a major dust cloud.
But they had the guy who played Alfred. I don't know. The thing with me is that I have kind of outgrown Christopher Nolan's directing and writing style, as it were. It was really good for a while, but now I'm kind of tired. Yeah, exactly. He peaked in Batman: The Dark Knight.
I'm tired
Well,
of
I
the
think
preachiness.
Inception was good enough.
I
mean, I still can't figure that movie out, but I didn't care to.
I can, but that's the thing. It's like I figured it out the first time I saw it. It's a decent enough action. It's actually a really above average action movie. It's kind of along the same lines of Total Recall, as in just this really high concept sci-fi thing mixed with a really basic action flick, and they mixed surprisingly well. So it's not like there aren't, but I'm kind of over Christopher Nolan. So I wasn't.
Stuff gets preachy, and I'm
Yeah.
concerned that this is just going to be a major preach fest with.
Because it seems like there's a lot of room to be preachy with, the Earth being all about to be overwhelmed by something that was probably caused by man's hubris.
And of course, the guy promises his daughter he's going to come back, so
From space.
he's
Which
either
obviously
going to
he
come
won't.
back or he's not going to come back, and either way we get preachiness there. I don't think I'm going to see it, unless my dad really, really, really wants to.
I mean, if it gets good enough write-ups, I might catch it on DVD later, but I
but
wouldn't
in
go to the theaters for that one.
I don't think so.
Okay,
either.
now the reason we put off the second one is because the second one actually relates to manga, if you can believe it or not. Edge of Death.
Starring Tom
Edge of
Cruise
Tomorrow.
and Emily Blunt.
Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Okay, here's the story behind this one. I don't know when it was written, but a story was written in Japan about an army that in the future with mech suits that have to fight this new type of enemy. They're like tentacle monsters.
And we don't mean giant mech suits. We mean actual power armor mech suits.
Yeah. And
The commercials are on TV now. Just turn on.
and it comes out in like a month. I cannot believe this
June
movie's already
26th.
set to
Yep.
go.
Yeah, so like turn on your average nightly primetime TV show and you'll see a commercial.
I still can't
for
believe
it.
this is ready to go because there's a manga, and the basic gist is that they go into battle, and when he dies, he comes back to life like the day before, and he uses that to train himself to not die the next time he goes into the battle. So think Groundhog Day mixed with Saving Private Ryan, or pick your favorite military movie.
I have seen this concept before, but it was a fight, like an action film, and I can't think for the life of me, because when I first saw the commercial a few movies ago, I was thinking, this looks like another Tom Cruise, the clone one. It kind of reminds me of Oblivion.
It reminds me of the Decivian Stone, but apparently I'm the only person in the
But
world who knows what that movie
They
is.
made it's based on a Japanese story. They made a manga of it called All You Need Is Kill. The internet is translating it as we speak, and it's drawn by the same guy who drew Death Note. It's got the author of the original book doing the writing, but yeah, it's actually quite good. But here's the catch: this is the kind of story that lives and dies on how it ends. Like, if the ending is not satisfying, all the other stuff, no matter how good it is going to be soured. And I cannot help but feel that Edge of Tomorrow got picked up so quickly because it was Tom Cruise trying to be a badass again.
Again.
And that's just hasn't really worked for him of late, has it?
Oblivion.
Trying to be, failing.
I don't have anything against Tom Cruise as an actor. I liked Mission Impossible. I liked Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 3 was okay. he's
passable.
He's done good movies and he's done some good dramatic stuff, but I don't know. Somewhere along the line, he went nuts, and not in a way that's getting him committed. It's in a way that's making him make weird movies. And maybe this will be good. Maybe the source material will shine through, but if Tom Cruise has a lot of creative control over this thing, I have no hopes for it being good.
God, no.
Because he'll screw up the ending. He will. There's no way he could handle the ending well. But so Edge of Tomorrow, Maleficent looked good. Edge of Tomorrow, probably not going to work. Interstellar, maybe.
If you have a dollar theater, I would recommend going to see
But
it at your dollar theater.
Godzilla, go see it now.
Oh, definitely
Go
see
see
it now.
Godzilla.
As the Amazing
right
Spider-Man
now.
was toppled by Neighbors, Neighbors will be toppled by Godzilla, or I have lost all faith in...
Godzilla is
people
gonna
of this country.
cream Neighbors. Neighbors was just a distraction between the Amazing Spider-Man and Godzilla. The fact that Amazing Spider-Man got beat by Neighbors says more about Amazing Spider-Man than it does Neighbors.
I'll admit the writing for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't all that great.
You've
but
seen
the fact, Not yet, but I know the plot. The fact that it was beat by Neighbors shakes my faith in the people of this country, because
I would say
putting my hatred for Seth Rogen aside, this movie is not good.
it's
awful.
we don't even need to see it. It's another comedy where the core thought process is frats are wacky. That's the core thought process of that movie.
Oh, and just because you're married with a wife and a baby doesn't mean you still can't have a semi-youthful mentality, which is a good thing unless it travels into Seth Rogen acting like an idiot on screen.
I have nothing against Seth Rogen, but I honestly haven't
I hate
seen
him.
any of his movies. Like, I miss them all.
No, I was never much of a Seth Rogen fan, but I really started hating him when the Green Hornet came out a few years back.
I can totally relate to that.
Oh my god.
I've listened to the original radio dramas of the Green Hornet. It was it was like Batman. It was just like Batman.
Yeah, and
and-
then the 60s or 70s TV show?
Oh yeah,
The
with
one with
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee.
Bruce
It
Lee.
was good. I mean, it
Because
was
Bruce
bad,
Lee.
but it was good.
Enjoyably corny, but Bruce Lee was kicking ass in it, so woo! But yeah, okay. Green Hornet, Seth Rogen has made some shitty movies. Alright, I'm with you on that.
It's not even that the movies are bad. He's just bad at being funny. He has no comedic abilities.
Timing, personality, take your pick.
Dane Cook is funnier than Seth Rogen.
Oh man, that is rough.
It's true.
Alrighty then.
If I had
Well-
to pick one actor I hate more than Will Ferrell, it would be Seth Rogen.
Well, putting our views on comedic actors aside, definitely go see Godzilla.
Godzilla.
And
King
if
of
you-
Monsters!
And if you
Don't
haven't
punch my
seen
car.
yeah, please don't punch the car. But yeah,
You
punch
kicked
him.
the door
Punching
in
him is
once.
good.
You kicked the door in once.
But if you haven't seen it, I recommend you find the original Gojira. I would never ask you to do anything untoward.
I think you
but
can
I'm sure
find them
you
all-
Can find it on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure you can find them all on Crackle, actually.
I was going to say YouTube because
I was
don't know
actually
what
talking to
Crackle is,
someone
but-
at work about going to see this movie, and she said that you can find all the original Godzilla movies on Crackle, including the crappy ones. But
After we get
just
back
go
from
see
it-
Mothra and then see this one.
Go see the original Godzilla or Gojira. It's worth it too. It's a great film. It'll actually help you get some of the elements in this one, and it's awfully short too. I think.
Yeah. This
Oh,
one
roughly just a bit over 2 hours.
At 2 hours, this one doesn't feel long, but it doesn't feel short either. It's actually kind of hits a nice sweet spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah. All right, go see it. Bye.